Hello, hello. Let me know if you guys can hear okay. I feel like my audio was lagging, but I don't know if it's coming through properly. But let me know if the audio sounds okay. And this was a very bad week for Karen Reed. I feel like I live in an alternate universe where everything you see is like, oh, Karen Reed again did this and did that. And, Jen McCabe was almost caught in a lie. And it's like, none of these things are even relevant. She's literally on video saying she knew he was going to be on the side of the road dead. It's like, what is wrong with the media? So I'm going to try to play this and let me know if the audio lags. I'll probably post this in a separate video anyway, especially if it's lagging.
But what, if any, certifications do you have with reference to Cellebrite as a tool, as far as your use and interpretation of data from Cellebrite?
Certainly. So my certifications are much more broad.
When Richard Green reached out to your company, what specifically was the question or issue?
He reached out to the tech support team, asking basically, there's a timestamp that doesn't make sense. I need to understand what this timestamp means.
Are you aware that Cellebrite has had to modify their software based on misinterpretation of data, as you've done in this case?
Yes.
The question was related to a timestamp of 2:27:40 a.m. And an internet query that appeared to have occurred at that time. There was no other information on the device that suggested that internet query had occurred at that time. So we wanted to know how relevant is that timestamp to when the query happened. So I was able to take test devices, recreate test data to find out exactly what this timestamp meant.
That's not what you said in your affidavit that was actually filed under pains and penalties of perjury with this court, correct?
Yes, and on that day, that is what my true and proper belief was. Okay, since further testing, I have found that I now believe that was probably an automatic one, and if I've caused you any distress, I apologize.
There is no indication of a Google search at or before 2:27 a.m.
That it was actually the timestamp that the tab within the browser was brought into focus and had no relevance to when the actual web query had been made.
You have no certifications in regard to Cellebrite as a tool and how to use it, those kind of things?
That's correct, sir.
Did you reach back out to Mr. Green?
Eventually, yes, I did. After I provided information to the troopers, I wrote a blog that covered this information.
You just never called them back? That didn't happen?
Not that I'm aware.
Actually, I reached out to Richard Green, offering to speak to him about this issue and clear up any confusion, but never received a response.
So I pull at the foot of the driveway. It's snowing. John has no coat on. It's windy. So I drop him off. He goes up the driveway and approaches the side door. And as I see him approach the door, I look down at my phone.
According to the location and the speed data from the device, by the time it was approximately the driveway, the phone reports it was still traveling at around 15.9 miles an hour.
It didn't look like it was busting at the seams with people. And there was maybe one or two cars in the driveway. And I'm still on the street. And I have the passenger side facing the driveway. And I said, John, can you just run in there and like...
Did you ever see the car or the phone stop anywhere near that driveway?
No.
And he got out of the car.
Goes to the front door of the house?
Yes.
Did you see him go in the house?
Yeah, I saw him approach the front door.
At 29 minutes and 37 seconds, we start to get some Doppler checks. And at 29 minutes and 42 seconds, the pocket state cleared event is written. At 29 minutes and 44 seconds, there's an incoming call from Jen McCabe. This is answered and lasts for 7 seconds.
Him go to the door and start to cross the threshold, and I'm thinking, all right, let me look at my phone. And I know sooner or later.
You don't see the door open, you don't see him greeted and going in.
I see him open the door and put his head inside.
At 29 minutes and 52 seconds, the device is unlocked, and a second later, the lock button is pressed, causing the device to lock again. 31 minutes and 47 seconds after midnight, a message is received again from Jennifer McCabe saying pull behind me. And at 31 minutes and 52 seconds, the Doppler check records a pocket state.
I waited for him to reemerge, which I assumed was going to be in moments, or that he'd yell to me from the front door, "Okay,
It's good. Come on in.
yeah, come on in."
At 31 minutes and 56 seconds, we start the health event that shows 36 steps were taken.
And it pissed me off because, one, I didn't really want to be there. Two, I had to go to the bathroom.
At 32 minutes and 3 seconds, there's a pocket state cleared event. At 32 minutes and 4 seconds, the device unlocks with Face ID. And again, I'll point out that makes perfect sense if the Doppler state clears, because it's no longer within a pocket, and then it unlocks a second later. That makes sense with the logic that's been identified. At 32 minutes and 5 seconds, messages applications on screen, and the message pull behind me is read. 32 minutes and 9 seconds, the messages application is closed, and the device is locked for the last time.
Soon thereafter, within, Dennis, probably 2 full minutes, I start calling him.
Are you getting ticked at him?
Yeah, I am ticked at him at this time, yeah. So
What happens next?
I left.
At 32 minutes and 16 seconds, the 36-step health event is ending. At 33 minutes and 14 seconds, we have the first of the 26,500 Doppler state records that all record pocket state. This is followed by several phone calls at 33 minutes and 35 seconds, 34 minutes and 9 seconds, 34 minutes and 38 seconds, 35 minutes and 9 seconds, 35 minutes and 35 seconds, and 36 minutes and 9 seconds. All calls from Karen. Call were all unanswered, and all resulted in pocket state being detected by Doppler.
Like, I kind of slow rolled it off the street, and I'm hoping that as I slowly edge my way to the street, and I'm going.
Okay, so where are you headed home?
Yeah, well, I was home within probably 7 minutes.
At 36 minutes and 9 seconds, and again at 36 minutes and 40 seconds, 2 more phone calls received from Karen, again showing unanswered calls and resulting in a pocket state being recorded by Doppler function. 37 minutes past midnight, battery temperature has dropped to 72 Fahrenheit.
Laid on the couch inside the front door, and I just called him. I called him just over 50 times.
50 times?
Yep. Yep.
And at 37 minutes and 8 seconds, a further phone call, again unanswered, again resulting in a pocket state recorded by Doppler. 37 minutes and 31 seconds, a 3-second voicemail received from Karen. And at 38 minutes and 21 seconds, another incoming call, and at 38 minutes and 26 seconds, another incoming call, both unanswered, both resulting in Doppler's pocket state being detected by Doppler.
And that you were supposed to turn those records over to the Superior Court?
Yes.
Did you turn records over to the Superior Court?
I provided a copy of that production notice to Ms. Little.
Did you provide the records to the Superior Court?
I didn't directly email that to the court, no.
Did you indirectly email it to the court?
It was my understanding that it would be passed along to the court.
So you did not, pursuant to the order, provide the records to the Superior Court, did you?
Not directly to the court, no.
Are you just making that up, or that's what happened?
Sir, that is my best guess. I don't recall from a year ago.
When I ask you to guess, I'm asking for your testimony.
That's what I recall, sir. I spoke to him like I speak to any other client that would be interested in calling us as a witness. Next up was, I think, the voir dire. Either Alan, I think Alan contacted me letting me know that the court wanted to do a voir dire of myself and Dr. Rentschler.
And you mean Alan, you mean Attorney Jackson?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you became friendly.
I guess first name basis, is that what you're referring to?
No, I'm saying, did you become friendly?
No, I wouldn't say that we were friends.
I didn't ask if you were friends. I said, did you become friendly?
I talked to him like I talk to all of the attorneys that I work with, sir.
What would you call me if you were going to address me?
Probably Mr. Brennan.
So, do you remember the next time you spoke to Alan?
As I mentioned, it probably would have been sometime in early or mid-June.
After you had text messages with the defense, did you delete those texts?
Yeah, after the trial concluded, I mean, that's something I routinely do. I'm not going to keep texts from Mr. Jackson, especially now that we're past a year. I would have no reason to keep those, sir.
I'm not asking for the excuse. I'm asking if you did it. Did you delete texts?
Again, it's something that I typically do. I communicate with attorneys all the time, whether it's for trial or inspections. I don't have a habit of keeping a text chain about scheduling or meeting or, hey, can we meet at this time or show up here. I just don't have a habit of keeping that type of text. So he's not my friend, sir.
So you didn't delete texts?
I think I just told you that, yes, I did delete the text.
You didn't tell me, but you just did now. Thank you.
So next question, no comments, Mr. Brennan.
I don't recall how many there were.
All right. Was it 10, 100, 1,000? How many were there?
Probably, I don't know, maybe around 100 or so.
You remember sitting down and deciding intentionally you were going to delete over 100 texts. Where did that decision happen?
I have no idea, sir.
Is it typical for a biomechanical engineer to use an application like Signal to talk to an attorney on a case?
Sure.
It keeps no record of the communication when you use an application like Signal, does it?
I don't know, sir.
Well, you used it. Did you have it on your phone that you were using it with other people?
No, I don't believe so.
So the only time that you use Signal in your career is when you were dealing with this defense team?
Yes, it was earlier this year. Mr. Jackson had communicated with me, indicating that it was his preferred method of communication. So yes, we did exchange some messages on Signal. Like I said, it was really, I think, just in the month of March of this year, but it was brief. I know that I think we exchanged a couple phone calls, and I remember the call quality was terrible, so we really didn't use it that much.
Okay, you're saying a lot of things. You're saying you think. I want to know your best memory. I don't want you to think. You don't.
I just don't recall.
Well, you don't have to rely on a log. You can rely on your actual memory.
Right. I'm telling you that I didn't keep track of it. So.
And you wouldn't want to mislead the court, would you?
No, which is why I told you.
I asked. You didn't put anywhere in your response to the court order that there were communications beyond text messages and phone calls. You never, ever alerted the court or anybody to that, did you?
Again, because I have no record of it. I have no way of being able to tell when those took place or how many there were.
The question I asked you is when you responded to the court order to provide all communications, and you responded by offering text messages, and you responded by listing phone calls, you knew that your Signal calls were communications, didn't you?
I provide everything that I had in my possession, sir.
That's not what I'm asking you. You knew the Signal calls were communications, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay. And you informed in your response that there were phone calls through Signal as part of your communications, did you?
Again, because I didn't have any record like I do with the Verizon entries as well as the emails. I could not, there's nothing I had in my possession, sir.
Mm-hmm. You've read this court order, haven't you?
Yes.
Did you think that you were coming out here to testify for free?
Again, I don't know who was going to pay the bill. I'm not.
That's not what I'm asking you. I want to know, after having these conversations with the defense, and they asked you to come out here, did you expect to be compensated for your time?
Where are we supposed to go?
You're not saying that all your conversations with Alan were just logistics, were you?
I believe for the most part, yes.
So it took hundreds of texts, 100 texts for logistics?
Absolutely.
That's not really answering the question I just asked, is it?
Can you repeat the question?
Of course I can. So when you sent a direct examination to Attorney Jackson before your testimony, you communicated with Attorney Jackson, providing information that you thought would best help your testimony in court.
Well, I think ultimately it's to help the jury understand my report and my analysis.
Do you think it's helpful not answering the question and just diverting every time I ask you something? Do you think that's helpful?
It wasn't to help the defense. It wasn't to help anyone but the jury understand things. As I just mentioned, that outline If it was asked if I had sent one to the Commonwealth, you would have gotten the exact same copy.
You didn't send one to the Commonwealth. When you wrote and offered, unsolicited according to you, to the defense, not sure if you want to put this somewhere in the direct examination, weren't you trying to help, sir?
I don't believe so, no, sir.
And then when you wrote, I have a feeling they are going to argue, I didn't personally inspect the vehicles. Who's they?
Well, it would have been the prosecution in this case.
But you're not taking sides, you're totally objective, right? So you were alerting the defense that you thought that this may become an issue, weren't you?
It was more or less to make sure the jury had an understanding that because I didn't physically inspect the vehicle, it did not matter for my analysis, sir. I wanted to make sure the jury understood that.
Don't hide behind the jury. I'm talking about your communications with the defense. I'm asking you specifically about your conversations with the defense. You wrote, I have a feeling they are going to argue I didn't personally inspect the vehicles. That's what you wrote, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. The tone in the argumentation.
Did you write that?
Yes.
Right. And when you said they, you're referring to the opposition, the Commonwealth, correct?
Correct.
Right. And you offer an explanation or a way to deal with what the Commonwealth may confront you with, don't you? You make a suggestion to help the defense, don't you?
Again, it was to help the jury understand that because I did not physically inspect the vehicle, it did not matter for my analysis. That was the point I was trying to make.
I had enough information from the material I reviewed, so it wasn't necessary. Need to show the jury it doesn't matter in this case. That's what you wrote.
Right. Need to show the jury.
Yeah. In your collaboration with the defense, that's not all you wrote, is it? You gave them discretion about things that you should or shouldn't say in front of that jury who you say you want to hear everything. Didn't you?
There were other comments, yes.
If you want the jury to hear everything, you wouldn't be relying on the defense to tell you what to say and not say, would you?
I don't know if I understand your question.
Okay, you'll understand if I read this. Number 19. Would it be fair to say that because you do a lot of nighttime visibility work, your cases frequently involve pedestrians? You remember that one?
Yes.
And then you wrote back, yes, unfortunately there is a direct correlation between the time of day and pedestrian fatalities. You remember that?
Yes.
Statistically speaking, most pedestrian fatalities occur during the evening and night hours. You remember that?
Yes, sir.
So my specialty in the area of lighting and human factors results in a lot of my cases involving pedestrians. Yes?
Yes.
Oh. And then, do you defer to the defense, not the jury, trying to give the full story to the jury, do you defer to the defense in exercising discretion on what you will or will not say to the jury back then?
Well, allow me to explain, if you will.
I'm asking you a question.
Well, let me explain.
No, I'm asking you, did you defer?
Answer the question first.
Did you defer to the defense on what information they wanted you to put in front of that last jury or not? Said, if you don't want me to say this, that's fine. Are those your words?
Yes.
So when the Department of Justice was giving you information during the trial about witnesses, what witnesses do you remember they were giving you information about? What were the key things they were talking about with the reconstructionist testimony? What were they telling you?
I think it was, as it relates to the arm being outstretched, and I think some of the kinematics of the pedestrian. I also think there was some mention of potentially some DNA evidence.
And is that how at trial, even though you had no evidence that was produced as part of your report, or to consider for your report, that you knew that there was DNA evidence because of the intermediary?
Because of the Department of Justice?
Yes.
Yes.
Did you know there was a sequestration order in this case that you were not supposed to consider or review other witnesses' testimony or information? Did you know that?
I was never made aware of that.
Nobody made you aware about a sequestration order in this case?
No.
But you did, in fact, receive information about other witnesses' testimony before you testified in this case in front of the jury, didn't you?
From the Department of Justice, yes. It didn't change my opinion in any way.
Well, not about whether it changed your opinion. You testified about DNA, didn't you?
I don't remember that call, sir.
And, waiting to hear about my reconstructionist who I've invested a lot of money in over the last few months, and they're finally allowed to testify. They're objective. They were hired initially by the U.S. government. I didn't even know how to spell ARCA until February of last year. So I'm incredibly grateful to Bob and my team, and grateful for the work you'll hear about from ARCA. Yes, ARCA's in. So.
You think the
I
judge
feel
is
great.
being fair to you? The judge is
I believe that was fair, and I appreciate it. I would expect nothing less, though.
Karen showed up at my house screaming. I went out to help her look for John, and then we found one of my closest friends on the front lawn, and she was saying crazy things and acting crazy and
Ms. McCabe,
acting
that's not my
erratic.
question.
And so every
Ms. McCabe,
police
that is
officer
not
that
my
I
question.
spoke to,
Let her finish.
every police officer that I spoke to, I tried to answer their questions the best I could. It took me hours and in some cases days to remember all the things that Miss Reed had said. My mind, I was in a state of shock. But the minute I remembered, she said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. I called Officer Lank.
And your memory is getting better even as we sit here today, correct?
There are certain things I will never forget, Mr. Jackson.
Including the fact that you never, ever, ever said, she said, the words I hit him, to a grand jury when you were asked about it 3 months after the incident. Correct?
She said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
Oh, I have nothing to say to Jen McCabe. I would say the dash cam and the 911 calls speak for themselves.
What did you say she said?
I don't know if I was asked specifically what she said to a female EMT.
All right, we're going to end this now.
Your Honor, may I have one more question?
Go ahead.
I can't end it like this. You said,
Okay,
she
jurors,
said.
ignore the comments of counsel. Ask one question, Mr. Jackson.
You said that she said, could I have hit him? Did I hit him in the presence of the female EMT? That's what you testified to under oath at the grand jury, isn't it?
Yes, because she also said that.
Anyone with common sense would think of Jen McCabe, I hope.
who's the mastermind behind this? You guys have pointed to Albert, but she certainly spent a lot of time on her in terms of her role in this.
But it's always inconsistent. She's not consistent, so
So she can't be a mastermind if she's inconsistent?
I would maybe use the word quarterback.
Karen, that text message, if she claims this event, if she fights for the episode, when did you first see that text and what's your reaction?
I saw that text prior to the first trial. I don't know what would make them think I pleaded anything because I didn't do anything.
Do you see that? Mm-hmm. Okay. I can't stop seeing him in the snow. Jen, this is awful. Who's that from?
Kerry.
Is your state of mind collusion?
No.
Objection.
I'll allow it. Don't ask it again, please, Mr. Renner.
168. $129.22 at 2:04:32. You're calling Miss Roberts. Every time I close my eyes, it's all I see. I feel like I'm going to vomit. I just can't even. I know how close you two were. Can't imagine how hard the situation is for you. Does this reflect your state of mind that day?
Yeah. I'll allow it.
There was zero chance John was hit by a vehicle.
There's nothing more than me calling and saying, hey, did they come to your house? That's what we did when the media showed up, when Miss Reed's private investigator showed up. We just give each other the heads up, hey, somebody's coming. Because we're just like normal moms. We're not used to this.
And that's helpful in making sure that the stories she tells are consistent with the stories you tell. You knew that John O'Keefe was clinging to life during those precious minutes and seconds. Is that right?
I did, yes.
And you also knew that Brian Albert, your brother-in-law, was a first responder trained to deal with people in that kind of distress, correct?
In that moment, my only thoughts were John and everything we could do for John.
And you knew that there were warm blankets inside the house. Is that right?
I did, yes. There were warm blankets in the house.
And you still never went in, did you?
No, I went and attended to John because once I finished calling 911, I went over to John and Kerry Roberts asked me to take over compressions. So I felt like that was more important and 911 was on the way. I never thought about going in the house. I just thought, how can I help John?
You never thought about going in the house, but you did pull out your cell phone and make 2 phone calls, didn't you?
After I called 911, I tried calling my sister, yes.
While John was out in the cold, clinging to life, You weren't doing chest compressions at 6:07 and 6:08, were you?
I was walking over when I was calling.
You were calling your sister on the phone, weren't you, Mr. McCabe?
I was calling them to see if they would come out, but I was going right over to work on him.
And you could have walked 25 feet to the front door, walked in the house, and screamed for Brian Albert to come out and help you in those precious seconds and minutes, couldn't you?
That would have taken me away from helping John, getting Kerry blankets, giving him compressions.
And making those two very important phone calls at 6:07 and 6:08 that you say were not answered, correct?
They were not important phone calls. I tried to call my sister, and then I focused on John.
They were not important phone calls, but they were important enough for you to make while John is clinging to life right there in front of you, right?
As I was walking over, I called to see if she would answer.
And she didn't answer. Let's talk about that. She didn't answer according to you.
So if we're going to talk about it, we're beyond the luncheon break?
Your Honor, I have two more questions.
Okay.
And I'll wrap it.
Okay.
Let's talk about that real quick.
Sure.
She didn't answer the phone, did she?
No, she didn't.
So you have a situation where a man is laying dead or dying in the front yard of your sister's house. You see nothing in terms of life inside the house. Lights aren't coming on. They're not getting up. They're certainly not coming outside, right?
They were sound asleep.
They weren't coming outside, were they?
Because they were asleep.
You didn't know if they were asleep. All you knew was there was a severely injured man on the front lawn of their house, and your sister didn't answer the phone, not once, but twice, correct?
Correct, she didn't answer the phone.
Did you think your sister might have been in peril? Did you think to go inside the house and check that they're okay?
I had no reason to think that they weren't okay.
You had no reason to believe they weren't okay. A man was dead or dying on their lawn, and your sister's not answering the phone. And nobody is coming out to the chaos of Karen Reed screaming on the front lawn. You didn't think there was some reason to believe they could have been in peril?
I didn't, because your client was screaming she hit him. She had a cracked taillight. She was crying she hit him. I didn't, but my focus... Can I finish, please?
You had solved the crime right then and there. You solved the whole case.
No, I didn't. I knew John never came in the house, so I had no concern for anyone's safety inside the house.
The reason you didn't go inside the house is because you knew better. You knew better. You knew she wasn't in peril. You knew that Brian Albert wasn't in peril. You weren't worried at all about them, were you?
I was not worried at all because something happened on the front lawn that had nothing to do with anything inside that house.
You weren't worried about them at all because you knew what really happened, didn't you, Inspector?
At that moment, I didn't know that he was hit by a vehicle and there was taillight found next to him.
That's all I have.
John looked like a buffalo on the prairie. It was just a lawn and a heat that it wasn't a bush or a hydrant or a dog. It was a weird shaped lump at that time in those elements. And I was looking to find him on the side of the road. I was expecting I'd find him.
So I stepped out of the ambulance and came around with all 3 bags. I could hear commotion, I could hear some screaming off in the distance. I couldn't really tell you where it was coming from because it was still quite dark.
Once I got out of the truck, I was probably had to be about like 5 feet away until I could see the victim.
So I couldn't see him right away.
She directed us to go to 34 Fairview.
The whole point of the trip was to look for John, correct?
At 34 Fairview, where Karen said to go.
And your testimony is that if it hadn't been for Karen jumping out of that truck, you would have stopped, correct?
Because I wouldn't have seen him. I didn't know he was there. She did.
I was looking to find him on the side of the road. I was expecting I'd find him.
What makes the blood alcohol extrapolation? Do you think it could have been 3 times the legal limit?
I think it's garbage in, garbage out, and it depends on their assumption of when I last consumed alcohol. It's an assumption. So each drink was being counted as a double. So I would get a by the time, and then I would pour a shot into it, so that would count as 2. But frankly, it just felt like a regular cocktail. It was just a really weak pour, so I asked for that I did take. So that would have been the night. But I did not consume 9 vodka martinis or take 9 shots.
Oh, she is exhausting. Absolutely exhausting, and she's an idiot. Like, I don't even know. I don't know what's wrong with her. Like, I really don't. Like, I don't know if this is a PsyOp. It's an experiment to see how dumb the public is. Like, I really have no idea. She's on that documentary saying that when they were back at his house looking in all the rooms, she says to Jen, he's not any of these places. We have to go back to Fairview. So even Karen is corroborating Jen McCabe's story. So they go to Fairview. She can see him on the lawn. He's a buffalo on the prairie. But like the thing is, they were coming up from the left side. And I think this is super important because coming from the right side of Fairview, you know, the open yard is there. So you might see the lump in front of the bushes. But they were coming from the left side where there's a tree line. Like, how could she even notice anything out of the ordinary unless she knew exactly where he was? And there's this video from last year. I think it was from today because it came up as a memory. So let's see if I can find it. With Vinny. And he is in the yard. And it just made me think, like, we don't know how much the yard has changed, but like, why would you really notice that? Like, in that weather?
The ground, 6 inches of snow on top of him. Now, in the photos that we've seen in court, they've referenced certain pieces of the landscape here, including this flagpole that you can see. Now, behind me is where the bushes would have been.
So question, like where he's standing right now, like there's a lot of mock-ups where it shows John O'Keefe's body like in the grass part of the yard. But like he's kind of saying it's like by the flagpole, but like on the mulch side of the yard. But I feel like if he's on the mulch side of the yard, like no one is going to notice a lump there because look at even like he said there was bushes that were removed, but like there's lumps there. Like how are you going to notice a lump unless you know the yard, unless it's your yard? And Karen Reed is blacked out. She doesn't ever remember going there. Like, it's just so obvious. Like, I don't know what's wrong with people.
It looks like it's changed since then. The other thing they talk about is the fire hydrant. And the fire hydrant is right here. So it is within this area, just off the roadway, where John O'Keefe was found. Now, the one question that I've been wondering about, because prosecutors are talking about...
And how would they notice that from that door? Like if you were looking towards the road from that door, you have to look through this like lumps of mulch and grass and, you know, like that's the whole argument is like, or that's how the defense tries to make it out to be. Like he's just sitting in this vacant field, but he's in the corner of the yard where there's all this shrub and bushes and, you know, stuff.
Karen Reed's car going 24 miles an hour in reverse over the course of 62 feet. Now, 62 feet, she wouldn't be coming this way because this road is not 62 feet wide. She would have to be down this way, 62 feet. And I stepped it off before, and it's pretty close to where this tree is on the neighbor's yard. So she would have had to have gone that distance in reverse and somehow struck John O'Keefe, sending him into this area.
But like, look at this shot right here. This is where Karen would have seen him when it's a freaking blizzard and it's pitch black out. She would have noticed that there was something different from that mulch, from this vantage point. It's like, no, like there's just no, no. Even the first responders are saying they couldn't see him. So like the first responders couldn't even see him like when they knew he was there. They had to be out of their truck and 5 feet away from him. And she's going to see a lump that's different from these bushes. Like, how would she know? How would she know? It's like...
And the question is, does that make sense? Under what circumstances would she drive off and then come back and hit him? That's the prosecution theory, as far as I can tell from what they've said inside the courtroom. So... as I'm here at the home, that's the one thing that really...
But But like, also look at the front door from this vantage point. Like, there's the bush there. Like, I mean, it's kind of a distance, and this is broad daylight in the spring.
Strikes me is what exactly happened. Where was she going, and did she come back to strike John O'Keefe and kill him on purpose? Welcome back.
God, I don't know. It's so like blatantly obvious. I mean, she's basically admitted it. She's had all these vodkas. She knew exactly where he was. She was calling people saying he's dead, hit by a plow on the side of the road. I really, there's really something wrong with people. It's like scary. I had a live on TikTok on Friday night, and the people were mental, like completely mental. Like, you can't tell them any facts about the case because they start screaming you're lying. If I show them a picture of her car in the morning, they say it's not real. Like, it's really unbelievable. And I mean, they just bought into it, so they don't want to hear anything else, and like, they'll die on that hill. Like, I think if she's found guilty, they're going to storm the courthouse, like, like a January 6th deal. And it is so psychotic. I mean, and it's not like she's like comes off as a nice person even. Like, I could see if she had charisma or, because there are some defendants, but she doesn't even seem nice. She's laughing about talking about him being hit by a car. She is smirking the whole time. She's very like, I don't know. You can just tell that she's like evil. And like her family, like when they're looking, I want to see if I can pause it. I can shut up the sound. Let's see if I can get it up there. Like, they're all like straining their necks when he's yelling at Jen McCabe. Like, look at the father. I don't know if this is the part. There's a part where they're like really like, they love it. And like, that's why I'm like, get the father on the stand. He's just as bad as her. I think this is when he's like screaming at her. All of a sudden the father just starts really craning his neck. See, Karen's looking at him. Like, this is not normal. I don't think he's yelling right now because Daddy Reed's falling asleep. And Karen's checking to see if he's still awake. He's napping now. Oh, now she's looking. Now they're looking. This is probably when he's clapping. The mother's kind of smirking. And it's like, it's so bizarre because they know that it's not true. And they're like, oh, let's watch this lady get harassed and accused of doing things when all she did was wake up and help Karen Reed. And Karen Reed took her right to a body that she knew where it was to traumatize her for the rest of her life. Like, Karen Reed turned this woman's life upside down. For what? Like, I feel like she kind of got off on it, like bringing them back there. Like, I don't even know. There's one point where, like, I think she laughs or something. And it's like something, he's saying something really mean. So it's like, it's really like a wild thing. So this is the part, I think, where he's like, one more question. She was trying to end it. And he's like, I have two more questions. So this is when he gets real aggressive, I think. And Karen starts smiling. If I remember correctly. I could be thinking of a different time, but. I don't know.
They were sound asleep.
They weren't coming outside, were they?
But Karen's like she likes this. It's just so bizarre. It's so bizarre that there's so many like people that have evil in their hearts that are going to just support her. Oh, look at her nodding her head and smiling. That was the part that I was thinking of. Did you see that? Let's see what he said when she did that. She's like,
In terms of
yeah.
life inside the house, lights aren't coming on. They're not getting up. They're certainly not coming outside, right?
They were sound asleep.
They weren't coming outside, were they?
Because they were asleep.
You didn't know if they were asleep. All you knew was there was a severely injured man on the front lawn of their house, and your sister didn't answer the phone, not once, but twice, correct?
Correct, she didn't answer the phone.
Did you think your sister might have been in peril? Did you think to go inside the house and check that they're okay?
Look at her.
I had no reason to think that they weren't okay.
You had no reason to believe they weren't okay. A man was dead or dying on...
Like, I don't even understand what was so great about that. Did you think your sister was in peril? And Karen's like, yeah, and smiling. Like, I don't understand. Is that like a line that she gave him? And she's like, oh, he's saying my line. Like, I just like, it really is mental. And look at her father. He's like, his head looks like it's about to pop off. It's like really some sick shit. Like, it really is, because they all know that Jen McCabe is innocent in all this. And like, they're like enjoying her being tormented on the stand. Because they know the mob, they have the mob outside. But like, Karen and her father are like in sync. The way that they think, you can see like their expressions, their reactions are almost like in sync with each other. Like, they both look at AJ at the same time. They both have similar reactions to things. It really is so bizarre. He just farted. I don't think a jury is going to buy this. But, I mean, social media-wise, I think... I don't know. There's just, like, no talking sense to them. They don't want to hear facts. It's, like, the most obvious, like, murder case ever. And, like, look at him looking at her. Because he knows he just got dog-walked by a soccer mom. Psychos. Friggin' lunatics. Like, I can't stand any of them. It's like so crazy. I can't. I mean, there was like this video about a narcissist and like basically saying that Karen is a narcissist and all it's about is winning. And like, I think that really is true. And I think her father is like that too. It's not about, they have no remorse. It's all about winning. This is a game to them. And that's all they care about. The narcissist just does not want to lose. They don't want to be called out. Anyone that does call them out, that's their enemy. And even though Jen McCabe did nothing wrong, it was just they're trying to help Karen. They just see her as the enemy because she's trying to call out the narcissist. And they see that. That's why they have no problem going after all these troopers and people's personal lives. That's why they had no problem going to Turtle Boy. That's why they have no problem going after the kids. Like, Karen says that she was going to call like the 9-year-old a little shit because he's lying, you little shit. And she wants to scream at the judge. Why did Jen call 5 people when the FBI came to ask her questions? She said she needed 10 minutes. I mean, I would take 10 minutes. I would be calling people too. I mean, I think that's a normal reaction. I think anything with this case, they probably were calling and communicating with each other about every step of the way. Going to court, you doing this, there's a hearing coming. I just think that, you know, they all were communicating with each other about this case. I think it's the way that it would be if any soccer moms were involved in something like this. Like, that's what people do. Yeah, I mean, I think that like, this is what you have to think about this. The feds investigated and turned over 3,000 pages. And so Jen called 5 people. She only told the feds she called 2. And then she was either on the spot, didn't remember, or just felt like she didn't want to keep listing names or whatever. But then her husband comes home and he's like, you need to call them back and tell them like that you called these other people. So she herself goes and calls the feds and says, actually, I called like this person, this person, this person. And it's in their report. And that's the only thing from the federal investigation that they had on Jen McCabe. They had like some of the text messages from the group chat, but like, that's it. There's nothing. That is nothing. That is nothing except for a mom that is thrown into this. She was not put into this by choice. Karen Reed called her. And, you know, I think it's BS. I mean, I'm surprised that the judge let it in, because now it's like these other investigators that weren't the police were talking to Jen McCabe. Like, it's a little weird. And Jen McCabe like said, yeah, and their investigation is closed, so they found nothing. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, Karen Reed is the epitome of white woman privilege. I mean, it you know, it really is, and I think that she, you know, went to a good school. I think that's part of it. You know, her father has those connections. And I think she's taken full advantage of it. And I think she is a narcissist. I believe she is. From everything that I've seen, like just the way that she's gaslighting John O'Keefe. She won't let him into the conversation all day. She's texting. Like, that's psychotic. The way that she was trying to talk to Brian Higgins, and then I don't think she was attracted to him. Like, the only reason would be to weaponize him in some way. And that's what she does. She weaponizes people. That's probably what she was doing with the kids, buying them Dunkin' Donuts coffee, weaponizing them, or like trying to manipulate them. And that is what she does. And I think that that's why John O'Keefe probably want to get rid of her. John DePetra said the jury looked really confused during the Fed questioning. I mean, I was very confused during that until I like kind of heard a little bit more. I saw like Jen like getting like flustered a little bit, but then it turned out like that's it, because she called 5 people and then she's like, oh, actually she only told them 2, and then called them back and corrected it. And that's the thing you have to think about too. The feds came to all these witnesses and were like, you know, if you lie to us, that's a crime. You'll go to jail. And every single witness stuck to their story. And every single witness said the same thing that they said on the stand. And the feds were watching this trial to make sure that all the witnesses were saying the same things that they said when they were investigated by the feds. And all the witnesses did, and that's why the federal investigation is closed. There was no funny business. She had her privilege, and she got the feds to come in and look. And got everyone's text, and got people's personal, you know, I think that's how they got Higgins like swipe logs, and they got a lot of extra stuff, and there's still nothing. And that's what people have to realize. But like, that interference into this case is a big part of why the mob believes she's innocent. I mean, it's just, there were just so many things. Like, in a normal case, you're not going to see the investigator's text messages. You're not going to see private text between witnesses. You're not going to see all these like other extraneous details that you do in this case. And if you did, a lot of killers probably would get off. And it's not right. Like, it's total privilege, and everyone should be mad about it. I mean, this is why our justice system is unfair, because she did get a mistrial. She did partially get off. She was very close to getting off. And why? Because she doubled down and attacked all the witnesses and spread misinformation, somehow went to the feds and got the feds involved and got the feds to investigate all the witnesses and investigators. And like, you got to think like Ryan Nagel was interviewed by the feds. All of these people were interviewed by the feds, and they probably all were scared, and everyone's story stayed the same. Come on. It's like so obvious that like there was nothing there. There was this kid, Preston Lord, that was killed outside of a party in 2023, October of 2023. And that was a cover-up. Nobody wanted to speak about it. Nobody wanted to say anything. It took 6 months for them to make an arrest because, you know, people were threatened and scared into silence, and he was beat outside of a party. And it came out that this kid whose father had money, a millionaire, was trying to cover it up. He took his kid and put him in a cabin because he had a broken hand to heal it. He was spreading misinformation about another kid with the same name as his son. And you know who came forward? The feds didn't have to get involved. But like there was a lot of people that knew. A lot of the friends came forward. The kid's own stepmother came forward and said he was bragging. She heard him on surveillance on ring cam bragging that the kid had to have a closed casket, and that's what made her realize that she needed to come forward. The father had a secretary. He made her sign an NDA agreement. She came forward and she broke the NDA and gave information to the police. And I mean, that's what happens in situations where even if people are scared or threatened and into silence, it wears on people and people end up coming forward and doing what's right. And, you know, and so in this case has been 3 years. Preston Lord, it only took 6 months. And the feds were involved and nobody has changed their story. Come on, people. It's like so exhausting. And in that case of Preston Lord, I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. So 7 people ended up getting arrested. The first one just took a plea deal, so I think he's going to rat on the rest of them. It's going to be really interesting to see how that goes down, because I think it is a very complicated case, because it was a Halloween party, people in costumes, a lot of stuff happened, and it's only eyewitness testimony to like pick out who did what, right? So it's going to be a really interesting case. And, you know, the kid with the millionaire father with the expensive lawyer seems to be the one that did the most damage, like because of text messages. He had a text saying, oh, I think I put the kid in the hospital immediately after the fight. So, you know, I just think he's the one that has the best lawyers probably. And I think 2 more are coming up with plea agreements this month. So it's going to be interesting to see if they're going to testify against the rest of them or what. But the first one got 17 years and he really wasn't involved in the fight. Like they were attacking everyone, but like he wasn't too involved and he got 17 years. So that's going to be an interesting case if they don't all plead out. We'll see what happens. But I just think, you know, that's a great example of like a cover-up, an attempted cover-up, a fight that happened in front of a bunch of people. People talk. There's no way in hell people are going to keep their mouths shut. And there were a lot of parents that like were stopping their kids from talking to the police because they were afraid for their kids of getting beat. You know, so like the same thing happened to their kids. There's a new law now in Arizona that they're trying to push forward because of this case called swarming. So like if you attack someone with 3 or more people, it's called swarming, and it's a much harsher penalty than just like an assault and battery, because of the damage that, you know, 3 adult men can do to one person if you just are attacked from all sides. It's crazy. It really is a crazy thing that was going on there. And I mean, it's so sad. It's so sad. The mother was speaking at his arraignment saying, the week before I was picking out his ties for his homecoming game, and then the next weekend I was picking out ties for his funeral. It's so sad. Let me see if this, I don't know what this video is, but this is from a year ago today too.
And they're cheering for more. They factually innocent.
Yes. Did you ever find out how long it takes to die in the cold?
Probably about 4.
You and John had been drinking since 9 o'clock.
Incoherently drunk.
That was your original defense, but now you weren't drunk.
Because he's dead. Both times I met Brian Albert, he seemed like the type of person that you'd be surprised he's out socially, because he doesn't seem like he ever wants to be there.
Oh, so he didn't like you?
No.
Got it.
I said, can we make sure we're welcome here? Nobody extended the invite to me.
You weren't invited. They were like, John, you can come, but leave your ratchet at home.
So I pull at the foot of the driveway. It's snowing.
Okay.
He goes up the driveway and approaches the side door. And as I see him approach the door, I look down at my phone.
But if you saw him walk all the way up to the side door, how would you have thought you might have hit him?
I said, I hit him. It was preceded by a did and proceeded by a question mark.
Got it.
I texted him, I called him, and within minutes of him exiting my car is not answering his phone. Minutes.
Did you normally just inundate him with calls as soon as he leaves your presence?
I had told both Jen and Kerry that I cracked my taillight, but I didn't look at the damage.
How exactly does one tell somebody else about a cracked taillight if they never looked at the damage?
I think things went too far. It was late.
Did you ever figure out what you hit? Because I think we did.
What I thought could have happened was that did I incapacitate him unwittingly, somehow, and then in his drunkenness, passed out?
And at what point did you decide to delete the ring camera footage?
Immediately.
Nothing you're saying makes any sense.
There was
Did you
alcohol
really
involved.
think anyone was going to believe this story?
No, wasn't in my right mind. It's cracked. It's cracked.
Now you're just somebody that I used to know. Somebody, somebody.
God, I was thinking, I'm trying to think of why this came up, but I was really thinking that, you know, I do think that she deleted the ring camera footage. And I don't know. I like go back and forth on this because, you know, she's said on interviews, she's given conflicting statements. Like, some people think she backed and hit his car on purpose, right? Some people think that it was an accident. But, like, on one interview, she said she didn't even notice that she hit it and didn't see it until they were reviewing the ring camera footage, which was who knows when, much later when they got discovery. So probably a lie. And then another one was like, she knew that she hit it. She felt the bump and whatever. She was aware that she hit it, which that doesn't make sense either, because then why would she be saying, Dad, I hit something? Why would she be saying, I hit something last night. I don't know what happened to my taillight. So I just think that if she deleted that ring camera footage, that one where she's hitting John's car, I think she would have been better off, because that video of her, you know, the bulbs being out at 5 a.m. is damning. I mean, that is completely damning. Even though that gives her like an alibi, like, you know, like she didn't know it was broke or whatever. But like, no. If that wasn't there, like, yeah, she didn't have another excuse as to where that taillight could have broken. But it doesn't even matter because the taillight piece is there anyway. It's even worse. So it would have been better if she didn't even have any of this on video for her. It would have been better just to delete this one too, because then, you know, they can't be like, oh, we looked in the driveway and didn't find pieces. If she's just like, I broke it somewhere else, I don't know where. And we didn't have this video, then she could have said like someone tampered with it. But like, these lights are out. Like, those are out at 5 a.m. So next cover up, Karen, you just delete all the ring camera footage. You shouldn't have left this one. I mean, I just think that this one is something the jury's going to look at and be like, you know what? That's what you just can't get around it. Like, it was broken. It was broken at 5 a.m. And, you know, nobody planted it because it's already broken. There's only a few lights in it. So she should have deleted this one too. Right? Why not delete it all? I think in her mind, she thought that this was going to be her alibi. That's where she could say that she was hitting his car. But like, anyone with common sense is like, yeah, no. It wouldn't have broken that much. It wouldn't have put the tail light, like the lights out in the middle of it. It wouldn't have done enough damage. And then she's on video with Gretchen Voss saying like, yeah, I was pulling the pieces out. I thought it was going to short. So she literally admits that it was that broken. So it's like her story just, every story is so inconsistent. The only pieces that I think weren't found was this top square piece. And I think that's the part that Kerry Roberts was talking about. That was the metal was sticking out. And that's where they never found the last pieces. So potentially she did pull them out and throw them in the driveway. And, you know, then it was shoveled or whatever. And that's why they never found them. But I didn't see anything on the ground. Like, I think you would have seen it in the ring cam. Let's see if I can find that picture of the taillight when it's all put back together. Because I think it is just that piece. Oh yeah, we have this too. I mean, they're gonna really get her, and that's the thing. Like, if she just deleted all of the Ring camera footage, they wouldn't be able to do a reconstruction. You know, there's a potential where she could have said it was just cracked, but this proves that it wasn't just cracked, and then they have the ability to then prove that it didn't happen. You know, they can do the accident reconstruction, which I think they do have this time. And then you can like zoom in on the car, and you can see before impact, after impact. The only difference is this lower piece on the bumper. Like the snow's not disturbed up above, and you know, she's just screwed. So I feel like she should have just deleted everything. I mean, why would you? I guess she really thought this was going to be your alibi, but this is what's going to sink her. Because it's like, you know, it's provable that it didn't break there. Whereas if she just said it broke somewhere else, she didn't know. But like, because this is her alibi, it's easy to disprove. And so she's gonna, even with the most skeptical person on the jury. So that top rectangle is like the part that they didn't find. I don't know if the whole thing is supposed to be red. Let's see if I have one of the full taillight. Oh, maybe the top. I don't know what it's supposed to look like. I'm so used to seeing the broken one. I mean, I think that, yes, it proves, it definitely is going to add doubt to whether she did that on purpose. If, yeah, she was trying to cover up her crime. You know, it's worse that it's there. I would just, she should have just backed into it really hard, deleted the video, left a bunch of pieces there, and left damage on his car. That would have been the smart thing to do. But she's not that bright at all. Like, she should have really rammed it and made damage to his car. And deleted the video, and then there would have, that, you know, no jury would have convicted her. I know I'm giving all the killers ideas right now, but I did not hear about the 39-year-old man found deceased on his lawn. What's that about? So there's like the Ted Daniels interview. You know, one of the latest ones that she did. I'm trying to remember what came out. But like, he's asking her and he's like, oh, she says something along the lines of like, oh, I made a lot of mistakes, or I'm thinking about the last weeks that we were together and we were making a lot of mistakes. And he's like what? And she's like, drinking. And she like immediately corrects herself. And then she's like, and the people that we hung out with, but it's drinking. Like, she answers truthfully by accident all the time, like in almost all of her interviews. And that's why it's like, she doesn't even know how to like lie. Drinking, exactly, drinking did kill him. Well, a psycho and drinking killed him. Yeah, I can't tell. Oh, this video, I don't even know what this looks like, but like there's that last voicemail that people are always like, I don't think she's saying was that you? You know how like people say that? So like this, I think this is just her voicemail. So let's listen.
John, I'm here with your kids. Nobody knows what the you want, you pervert. Yeah, it's 1 in the morning. I'm with your niece and nephew. You pervert. You're a pervert. John, I'm going home. I cannot babysit your niece. I need to go home. You are using me right now. You're another girl sleeping next to me. You're a loser. Yourself. John, what the fuck are you?
He didn't look mortally wounded as far as I could see. Because he's dead. John didn't come back to our room until after 3 a.m. Because he's dead. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, she's nuts. She's nuts. She's definitely nuts. Like, I don't know. She's scary. She's definitely a creep. She's creep-tastic. I don't even know what this one is. There's so many like old, like when you go back and look, it's like, what were these people? They've changed their story so much. It's like, it doesn't even make remote sense what she's trying to sell now. So I don't know. I don't know what this one's going to be. Let's see. I'm just looking at these videos from like a year ago to see if there's anything that sparks
moments
a memory
ago.
or sparks.
Because he's dead.
I don't actually believe any of this shit.
I see him
I
approach
do
the
it for the
door.
money.
I'm a witness. That's all I am. I am not on
How
trial.
did you know Colin Albert was in the house?
The entire country would recognize Colin Albert. That's one good thing we got out of this.
Calling us murderers, harassing us, showing up to our doorsteps.
People are harassing him saying he was at the house when
Disgrace to your brother.
it's not true.
Disgrace. You are a disgrace. I'll say whatever I want.
Our sports games. I mean, we couldn't leave the house without people taking pictures of us, and it's very terrible.
I said I hit him.
Gonna look at him funny and just for the rest of their
I
lives.
did not kill John O'Keefe. I've never harmed a hair on
Just take
John
a lot
O'Keefe's
of
head.
Is it possible
harassment.
that you might have hit him unwittingly in
Dad, I think
your
I
admittedly
struck
very
something.
large meat?
That did I incapacitate him unwittingly somehow, and then in his drunkenness passed out?
Alleging that law enforcement officials in the state committed murder and that they're covering it up. Why would they want to be involved in this? Why would they?
Because he's dead. They fucking hate John O'Keefe.
Oh yeah. Oh, I remember that one. Turtle Boy went on like this tirade about how he cares about John O'Keefe more than his own family does. I can't stand any of those people. I don't know. But I'm gonna end this live. I'll be on tomorrow on thanks, Tanya Vincent. Happy I found your YouTube last week. Was going insane watching all the free Karen reads. I thought I was the only one. Keep going. I am trying. It is exhausting. And thanks for the Canadian $5. I appreciate it. And I will be logging to Yellow Cottage Tales tomorrow. I think Kevin's sick, but I will be keeping the boat moving. Until next time, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
You have to believe all of the McAlberts who testified. And so, am I correct in saying that they found the McAlberts to be convincing witnesses and truth tellers?
Correct. She stated to Miss McCabe, could I have hit him? Did I hit him?
She didn't say that. Who said? Jen McCabe says she said that.
I hit him. I hit him. I hit him.
The firefighter said that she said that too.
Who's the firefighter?
Repeated, I hit him.
Katie McLaughlin. Who's her best friend?
She's not a close personal friend of mine.
John O'Keefe and Karen Reed never entered my house.
12 people didn't see a guy go in the house. Like, that's what you were relying on.
12 people also didn't see a body when they left.
I did notice something out of the ordinary, like a black blob in the grounds by the flagpole.
I also was not looking out my window.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Did anybody in this courtroom ask you if you were looking out your window?
I wouldn't be staring at her grass. So no.
Okay. I didn't ask you where you were staring.
Karen, we saw you outside of my sister's.
I saw the black SUV arrived
There was another vehicle in front of us
up the hill towards us.
on the same road coming from the opposite direction.
It was a black SUV,
I've noticed a male and a female in the car.
a car length and a half in front of me.
There was another car that I hadn't recognized before. It was a dark SUV.
So I pull up, stopped, pulled up again, stopped, pulled up again by the flagpole, stopped. That's all I saw.
Just turned around and looked through the blinds.
It wasn't going 50 miles an hour, correct?
I mean, I didn't have a radar gun on me, but no.
Goes up the driveway and approaches the side door.
0 people have said that they saw him enter the home.
Because he's dead.
And at any point in time, did you see anybody exit from that vehicle at any point?
No.
You never saw anyone around the SUV, correct? Correct.
Ryan Nagel didn't see him go in the house because he ran. Because he was real quick. Because he ran because it was cold out.
He must have ran real fast.
That makes sense to a lot of people. What doesn't make sense to anyone?
That does not make sense.
His phone did not enter that home.
Oh, really? Actually did.
That address. One of those individuals is dead and the other individual is alive. Ultimately, and there's damage to the vehicle, then that individual must be responsible for.
So he was going up and down the stairs between 12:21 and 12:24.
But Waze says he didn't get there till 12:24.
The Waze does not say that.
They were with the ascending, descending stairs.
What the defense presented was concrete evidence by the most highly credentialed people and experts in this country.
There were also some puncture wounds in that shirt.
No! I'm sorry, puncture wounds in the shirt?
Puncture holes.
Are you aware that Cellebrite has had to modify their software based on misinterpretation of data, as you've done in this case?
Yes.
No!